Nathan, Nathan, NathanIvey.com. Mr. Ivey know the show must go on. As far as Cincinnati, man, I put on. Tunes made another flame beat for me to cook on. Raised arms, close fists, yeah, too strong. Team NI, chop it up at the chop shop. Top notch with the king flow, the hot shot. Cop squats in, listen to the real. Jumping like hopscotch, nobody harder than, oh, no, think not. Not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlatives, keep it locked like them Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airways, we talk about it. Brand new like the templates, let's be about it. Who got the info by the AM? John'll be the rapper, got them jamming when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't gotta okay him. Who the host with the scoop? Yeah, they gon' say him. Ivy, so superlative like a bag of drippos. Show you where the bricks at, Cincinnati Reds at. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at. It's the 513, yeah, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Let's get straight to it, shall we? Beautiful Tuesday. If you live in the greater Cincinnati area and you haven't looked outside your window as you get ready to make your moves this morning, just get ready. I mean, it's one of those wet, rainy days. It's the Midwest. We love these days. It's a beard day right here. All right, this is a boots day. So just make sure you dress and drive accordingly, my friends. Good morning to you. On today's show, among other things, I want to talk about Loretta Lynch. We've talked around it, but we never talked directly about it. Is she a sellout? She is the black female who first ever U.S. Attorney General, black female U.S. Attorney General, appointed by Barack Obama. If you live in the city of Cincinnati, you remember she came to Cincinnati, man. It was a big deal when she came to Cincinnati. And she basically said that Cincinnati, in our collaborative agreement and our relationship with the Cincinnati Police Department, and by our, I mean the community, was a model for the entire nation. Remember that? It was big news. I think they had a little shindig or something like that down at the Freedom Center. I didn't attend. But apparently they had a meeting and some local folks were in a meeting and Cincinnati is a series of big meetings. But she is now going to be representing the NFL, which this is not a case of like a destitute client. This isn't a case where you have a client that can't defend themselves in terms of they can't pay for a lawyer. We're talking about the NFL. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about a cabal of really, really, really rich people. They'll be all right. So why they have to get a sister to represent them in a discrimination lawsuit? And of course, that lawsuit was brought by Blind Flores. A lot of people have been talking about it. I want to get your thoughts about it this morning. Also, Americans, according to a new study that's been reported by CNN, are less likely to partner. Less likely to partner for the long run, and also less likely to get married. Why? Why? Is it the pandemic? Is there other factors? I want to share a few thoughts with you this morning at 513-873-7134. Good morning to you, and I hope that you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. I'll post links for all the articles that we discussed today because you might want to, check it out for yourself. I totally understand it. I hope the last 24 hours have been great. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're in good spirit and good health. And now let's get to this. Again, 513-873-7134. We're broadcasting live on Facebook. Even though I'm sick of you, Facebook. Damn hypocrites. Locking my friends up in Facebook jail for using little adult language. Meanwhile, you let your platform be used as a vehicle to plot against the United States. Didn't do nothing to stop it. But anyway, we're on Facebook. We're on YouTube, Nathan Ivey. We are broadcasting live audio on Spreaker and also on TuneIn. What's up to my people on the TuneIn app? Hope you're doing well. Good morning, and good morning. Hope you're doing well. There it is. Yeah, we back, boy. What? What? Yeah, we here. What? And still ticking. I read that the Cincinnati Bengals received the keys to the city. And I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but a man by the name of Jason Williams, he writes for the Cincinnati Enquirer. He wrote a piece. It was probably late last week in which he said that basically the city was going too far to celebrate the Bengals. You might remember it. It was last week on Wednesday down at Washington Park. If you ever come to Cincinnati, make sure you go to Washington Park. And they had fans and politicians. The mayor was there on the MIC, tab on the MIC. And then you had the Cincinnati Bengals team president, Mike Brown, and the head coach, Zach Taylor. You even had the governor. The governor brought his narrow ass down here. The governor. That's right, Mike DeWine. He brought his orange down here. They all had the orange on, and you had the fans down there. And I'm not sure what players were there. Houday was there, the mascot. He was there with his Jamar Chase jersey on. I was not there. I know some of you might have attended. And so there's been a big debate about whether we should do this or not. Now, sidebar, I was the guy that told you years ago that we should stop giving the Reds an opening day parade because they don't deserve it. Nobody wanted to hear that. But it's a tradition, Nate. It's a tradition. So I'm like, well, it's just what we do. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, wait a minute. We giving a parade to a team that don't even make the playoffs every year? Why? Just because it's the first game? F that. It's tradition. The Reds is the first baseball team. Uh-huh. Okay, well, this could be tradition as well. This could be tradition as well. The only exception because I have no problem with it. They had, getting to the Super Bowl. See, there's a couple things here that people need to understand about that. Number one is, that NFL thing, that's a hard grind right there. Trying to win a Super Bowl, that's hard. Just getting to the AFC Championship and winning that is a significant accomplishment that should be acknowledged. So on that levels, I was with it. But when I read they gave them the keys to the city, I'm like, wait a minute, the keys. So what if they win the Super Bowl? What's next? We're going to give you the keys to the city again? We might talk about it. We might talk about it this morning at 513-873-7134. Jada writes, I would love to know Loretta's reason for taking this case. That's right. I would too. Everybody wants to know. Because this is a clear-cut case of, I don't know. Like, everybody deserves to be represented, but we're not talking about somebody that's like hurting for money or can't come up with the money to pay for an adequate defense. We are talking about the NFL. They didn't need Loretta Lynch. And is this the NFL playing the race card? It's like, oh, you're going to hit us with a racial discrimination suit? We're going to hit you right back with the race card. Aha! Black female will be the public face for our defense. I mean, it's smart. It's strategic. Could have been the money. You know what I'm saying? When them bills come through, whoo. Anthony writes, good morning, Choppers. Good morning to you. David writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. Jerica's in the house. She writes, hola, beautiful black people, and the others too. Brenda writes, good morning. Pat writes, good morning. Regina writes, good morning. Roots Tafari writes, good morning, Choppers, or morning, Choppers. Kelly Prather writes, good morning, everyone. Roots Tafari writes, yep, she's a sellout. As it relates to race matters. So, again, this may not be like the number one, we're going to save the community topic. I totally understand that. But, we are largely an audience comprised of African Americans, i.e. black folks or foundational black Americans or whatever the hell you want to call yourself or us. So I want to know what you think about this. You know what I'm saying? Are you one of these kind of people who's like, you know what, I need to hear more? All right. Or is on the face of it, it's just some things as a black person you don't do. And everybody knows that the NFL has been discriminating. You can just see the product on the sidelines. You can see the color of the sidelines, right? Players and coaches to see that. And so now this brother musters up the courage to bring this lawsuit, and a sister comes out to defend the NFL. That's America, right? That's America. But, that's on the national level. They do that on the local level, too. Like on the local level, they'll love to run out and get them one of them black preachers Something crazy happens and a black preacher comes out and speaks to the black masses and tries to like, hey, simmer down now, simmer down there. It's not that bad. Don't get violent. Don't be upset. It's almost kind of like that to me on some levels. Very strategic. Regina writes, good morning. Good Tuesday morning. So here's what I want. It's real simple, although you can fill in the blanks if you feel like it's necessary. What I want to know is she a sellout? Is Loretta Lynch a sellout because she's defending the NFL against Brian Flores? This courageous brother. Everybody use that word. Courageous, courage. I was watching some of those sports shows when the lawsuit first hit. Everybody kept using that word. Courage. Right? So it's courageous. Now, how you going to come out and try to counter what this brother's trying to do in terms of advancements for black coaches? And you own the team of the NFL. The same. This is the team. This is the same league that played Colin Kaepernick. Wait a minute. What you doing, Loretta? Or is the other side of the argument that, listen, black folks got to eat too. Black professionals got to eat too. This is what she do. Okay. You know, does she pick the clients? Yeah. But she's already chosen her profession. This is what she does. You know what I'm saying? What do we find out she, about to lose her house or something like that? You feel, would you give her more grace then? Like, okay, well, she ain't really a sellout. She got to do what she got to do to keep that house. I think those are factors. I don't have all the answers. We'll find out together, but I do want to get your initial thoughts. Jada writes, yes, Loretta Lynch is a sellout unless there's some serious evidence against Flores that would suggest that racial discrimination is not at play. That's the other thing. That let's say she looked at it and she's like, got a weak case here. But let's say it is a weak case. Even if it's a weak case, we black professional, black lawyer, this ain't the kind of case that we want you to take. Or is that unfair? Is that an unfair thing to put on a black lawyer or black professionals? They went to college for this. This is what they do. NFL come caulking. Oh, shoot, they got big pockets. This is what you do. You defend people. You're Loretta Lynch. You got a mortgage to pay. You got other things to take care of. Nobody coming to your defense or paying your bills for you. You got to take care of it. So NFL come a calling. You looked at the case. You feel like, I think I can do something here. You take the case. No more expectations. Just because he's black doesn't mean we're supposed to have expectations. Where do you fall? On this particular issue? I'm very curious. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nathan Ivey. This is Kelly Prather. How are you?
Hello, Kelly Prather. I'm doing well. Good morning.
Good morning. No, I don't believe Loretta Lynch or former Attorney General Loretta Lynch is a sellout. I think that, she is an attorney. She did hold the position as the top legal representative for the entire country. And I think, like you just said, she has a mortgage that she has to pay. So the NFL is her job, and people need to stop looking at they need to stop forming their own opinion about what people do to maintain their livelihood. So I think that Loretta Lynch is the ideal person to handle that issue, especially since the NFL, as everyone knows, is plagued by racism. And I think that people are taking powerful steps to address the issue. I commend Eminem for taking a knee during the halftime show, the Super Bowl halftime show, because it showed that, yes, we are here, we are performing, but we stand in solidarity against racism. So, no, I don't believe Loretta Lynch is a sellout. And then also, Nathan, I want to commend you for doing your own thing. I'm just so excited there. Apparently, there's a lot of changes in local media, especially as it relates to radio. And so, you're a trailblazer. And again, I want to commend you for stepping out and creating a way for people to still get the news that's important. So congratulations. And that's all I had to say.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Kelly.
You're welcome. Take care.
Yeah, most def. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's Kelly Prather. She says, no, she's not a sellout. That's just a job. Do you agree with Kelly Prather or you disagree with Kelly Prather at 513-873-7134? Is Loretta Lynch a sellout? I want to get your gut reaction. I'm using extreme language because that's what people are saying right now. That's the question that people are asking. That's the way that people are coming at her. And People are looking at it like it's a race thing. Like, wait a minute. Everybody know you could just look at the color of the sideline and see that there's a little bit of a problem. It's not a big problem with the NFL. So let this brother go ahead and let this lawsuit do whatever it's going to do. Let's let it run its course and stay out of it. This is one of them things where black lawyers should stay out of it completely. Some people apparently feel that way. Is that unrealistic? You tell me. 513-873-7134. Would that almost be like in the Trayvon Martin case, the lawyers for George Zimmerman being black? People would have said, "You're sellouts. Now, how dare you?" Yeah. Everybody's entitled to the adequate representation, but it don't have to be you. You tell me. Jada writes, the NFL is using Lynch, and they're probably writing big checks. Big checks. Roots writes, but smart on the NFL's part. Very smart. Nat writes, good Tuesday, Nate and the Choppers. It's very smart because she's the public face for a cabal of largely white, rich men. And the irony of them choosing Loretta Lynch is, think about this. What Brian Flores is alleging is that this cabal of largely white, wealthy men don't think highly enough about a black man. Don't think highly enough about a black man to put him in place as a head coach. But as soon as you get in some trouble, you want to run and get a sister? That's one way of looking at it. That's one way of looking at it. Again, I just want to stir the pot. You tell me what you think. I'm very curious about your thoughts. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, it's Donnie B. You know I had to call in, sir.
I am so glad you did, Donnie. It's great to hear your voice. What's going on? What do you think?
You know I did. Happy Monday, Choppers. Happy Monday, Nate. So, as an employment discrimination attorney and a black female, my position is yes, absolutely, Loretta Lynch is a sellout. And I know because I've been exactly where she is. And for people who don't know my background, I'm an employment discrimination attorney. I used to work at a very large law firm. And that's one of the reasons I quit, is because I feel like we as a people have a duty to our own people to not be a part of the movement to oppress us. And what they would do is, when I was at a large firm, there was a class action lawsuit, and they wanted me as a black female to be on the case and do things in discovery that didn't sit well with the core of who I am and why I became a lawyer. But when they're paying you a six-figure salary, they're dangling, being partner and having a seat at the table in your face that you've never had before. Sometimes you can lose yourself and just think about the money and think about your own bills and your own struggles and forget about the greater good of African Americans as a whole. And it takes a strong person with a strong character to walk away from all that and say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to do it. And for me, that's Loretta Lynch's issue. Yes, sis, they're giving you all this money and your bills are paid and you got the prestige of being able to work for one of the largest law firms in the country. But at the expense of what? Black coaches not getting a job? We as a people, we're not white. We don't have the ability to shut up and dribble and turn the other cheek and look the other way. As white folks continue to oppress us, we become part of the problem. We have to stand up and say, no, I'm not going to be the token black person to convince the jury that the NFL isn't racist because, look, they hired a black female to come in here and prove otherwise. She's not going to facilitate meaningful change in this job. What she's going to do is screw around on discovery, which is the process of exchanging information to figure out whether or not the NFL really did discriminate. She's going to hide emails. She's going to coach white folks to lie in depositions and then go to sleep at night with a check while blacks make up 70% of NFL players, but make up less than 1% of the coaching staff and leadership and no ownership. She's a sellout. And I feel like if enough of us black lawyers stand up and say we're not willing to do that, what she could do is say, you know what? I'm not willing to represent you and defend you in a class action. But if you really want to know, NFL, whether you really have a problem with discrimination in your organization, I'll leave the investigation for you to find out. And when my investigation results come back, if they say that you really do have a problem discriminating against African Americans in coaching positions, I'll help you fix it. That's what she should do as the former first Black female U.S. attorney in this country. So that's my take on it. And I had to sacrifice. I could be back at the big firm making money doing the same shit she's doing as we speak. But my conscience wouldn't allow me. And I walked into the office one day and said, I'm done. Screw the check. Screw partnership track. It might cost me a prestigious judgeship because that's where judges and all the high-powered legal jobs, they come from large firms. They come from the prosecutor's office. But I made a decision when I kept getting phone calls from my own people saying, Donnie, I'm being discriminated against. Can you help me? And I had to keep saying, no, I only represent the man. So for me, it comes down with Black folks about character and who you really are as a person. And for anybody that's a Black lawyer to say she's not a sellout, I challenge you to look at your own character and look at why you became a lawyer, because I became a lawyer to help people, starting with my people first. And I looked up and somehow I was making $130,000 doing some white people shit on a track to nowhere as far as I'm concerned. And it was my grandmother who used to wrap my Christmas gifts in NAACP newspapers that reminded me, like, sis, what are you doing? And I'm looking at my own people in the face saying, I can't help you because I'm representing Fifth Third and Cintas and all these big-ass companies to the expense of my own people. So Loretta Lynch is a Black female attorney. We were proud of her when she became U.S. attorney because we thought that was going to mean she was going to make a difference at DOJ. Now she's at a DOJ and helping white folks continue to oppress us in the NFL space. We got to use our law degrees to make a difference and make it better for us. And any Black lawyer that's not doing that, as far as I'm concerned, you ain't doing shit. I said what I said. That's my take on it.
I appreciate the flows, Donnie. I miss your voice.
I'll be back soon.
All right, take it easy. That's Donnie B. Spitting flames as usual. What she said, Racker. And she is a Black female lawyer. I have heard that story in even greater detail before. I believe it to be true. Like everybody needs money, especially if you got a family. But everybody don't play themselves or they people for money. Everybody don't do that. You know what I'm saying? People will say that like, oh, well, what you supposed to do? I'm supposed to lead this good job. It might mean that. You might have to. So you can be the person that you know you really think that you are. You know what I'm saying? You know, I get it. So what do you think? Do you agree with Donnie? Do you disagree with Donnie? What do you think? Is Loretta Lynch a sellout? Now, I'm not trying to like call her a sellout in like a juvenile way. That's just a word that people are using right now. I want to know what this audience thinks about it. You know, what's your gut reaction like? That was very compelling. It's very compelling. It's like, so you're not helping, you making things worse. But I didn't think about that. She was like, you know what Loretta could have done? It says, look, before we get to this, let's get to that. Let's do an investigation first to see if there's anything here. Right? You pay me to do that. Nobody would have a problem with that. That's some of that DEI work. Right? But no, they want to pay you to be the face to defend them. Like I said, Black coaches, many of them, not good enough to represent these NFL teams as the head coach. As soon as they get a discrimination lawsuit, they run out and get a Black woman to represent them in the defense against a discrimination lawsuit. Huh? Now, like, I'm saved these conversations because, well, some of this stuff happened because we wanted to get beyond the Super Bowl. I know that this audience, being in Cincinnati, did not have an appetite for anything that was NFL, anti-NFL or anything like that. And I'm not saying I'm anti-NFL. I'm just pro the right thing. And but now I'm here. Now we're like a week and a half removed from the Super Bowl. I want to know what you think. Give me your honest thoughts. And whatever they are is whatever they are. If you like, man, I don't see no problem with it. That's how you feel. You know, don't change it. Just be who you are. That's all I need. Good morning to you. Shaba writes, if I was a mad scientist, I would clone Donnie B multiple times. Me too. Absolutely. Jetta writes, drops mic, right? She dropped the mic. Mr. Jack writes, yeah, why you became a lawyer? Cleopatra Jones writes, a sellout is a person who betrays something to which she said to owe allegiance. When used in a racial context amongst African Americans, sellout is a disparaging term that refers to blacks who knowingly or with gross negligence act against the interests of blacks as a whole. Well, Cleopatra, I mean, again, I ain't trying to ad hominem and get personal with Loretta Lynch. This ain't no personal attack. But that sounds like a sellout to me. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm interested in seeing where Brian Flores' discrimination lawsuit goes. We spent all this time and money invested in this sports league, then suddenly I want to see some black folks, some color on the sidelines in prominent positions, making some decisions like everybody else. Really what we need is conscious black ownership, but we'll get to that on another show. But what do you think? 513-873-7134. You see, Jetta writes, come on, Miss Lawyer Priest, we need to be united the way the Jews are. Our Jewish folks appear to be very united. They appear to be. Jack writes, she sounds ridiculous. Go have a seat at the table, he writes. Okay, so you think that Donnie was ridiculous, that you should get a seat at the table. Okay. Politically Petty writes, good to hear Donnie B. Absolutely. I've told her before I miss her voice, but she's been very busy. We'll try to get things started up soon. I'd take the case and the bag, but they wouldn't win. Shauna, you gonna work against her from the inside? I like the way your mind is working. I ain't mad at you. I mean, I get it. I understand it. But I'm here for the conversation at 513-873-7134. What do you think? What do you think? Not what other people. There's a lot of strong opinions. You know what I'm saying? Donnie has a very strong opinion. The Choppers, by and large, have strong opinion. What do you think? Just a question. Just like to know. Again, we ain't splitting the atom. We ain't gonna solve every social problem, but we will have some interesting conversation, hopefully every single morning. Shannon writes, I'm happy that a black woman is getting this work, and I'm confident she will do her job. There's always someone on the other side of a lawsuit. Why not her? So that's more of she's just a professional. Again, my gut is I just feel like it depends on the nature of the case. So again, I'm going to make an extreme comparison. It's good. I already know it's going to be extreme. I'm making it, but how would you feel about, let's say you have, this is going to be extreme. Let's say you have a white supremacist, right, on trial for doing something against, melanated folks or non-white folks. How would you feel if that white supremacist got a black lawyer? Wouldn't you be looking at him like, bruh, sis, what you doing? Now, I know it's a bit extreme to a degree, because if you just kind of look at the history, the Colin Kaepernick saga, this whole situation with Brian Flores and some of the things that have happened, I think an argument can be made that there's a lot of growth for the NFL. And unless you have lawsuits or some kind of social change or something like that, nothing's ever going to change. So if this pushes them in the right direction, so be it. So my response would be, why not her? Because she's a black woman. That's why, Shannon. That's what some people would say. She's a black woman. Why are you working against the larger interest of black folks? Do black folks have a larger interest in a more diversified NFL? I mean, if we're going to do this NFL thing, yes, we do. Now, personally, this season with the Bengals pushed to the side, as I've told you before, that's just something to watch for me. I don't get too deep into that. It don't pay me. It's just something fun. I don't get super, super deep. This year, I got deeper than most because it was a Cincinnati thing. I'm rooting on a hometown team. You know what I'm saying? When Cincinnati in the race, I'm always with Cincinnati. But I still got issues. I still have issues. I still want more. Didi writes, so if she doesn't do her job, is there a black firm that will be able to hire her? We know we expect people to do things ourselves will not do. Like we didn't financially support Cat and pay his salary for taking a stand. I suspect she knows we won't pay hers either. You suspect she won't. Okay, I think I understand where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. Omar writes, and this is interesting. Meanwhile, Flores' lawyer is white. Is he a sellout for not getting a black lawyer? My gut would be no. My gut would be no, he's not a sellout for getting a black lawyer. Although, if people raise that as a question, that's a fair and legitimate question. It's a fair and legitimate question. But black folks and white folks are in two different contexts and two different situations in this country, right? It ain't even, right? It ain't the same. But I would say, no, he's not a sellout, but I think that's a fair question to bring up. Eloise writes, good morning, happy Friday. Good to see you. Here it is. I didn't see this at first, but Donnie writes, no, Loretta Lynch is a sellout. I'm ashamed. Roostafari writes, when it goes against the plight of black folks in their pursuit of justice, she's a sellout. Okay. Shannon writes, black people love to call people sellouts, but never buy anything. She is a professional. She's earned her stripes, and the NFL has deep pockets. We have no idea what she charged them. Even if it was strategic, she couldn't have made them pay. She could have made them pay to make it work. And see, that's the question. I mean, again, Shannon, I hear what you're saying. That's why I brought up initially, like, are we being unfair? You know, she just take her race out of it. She's just a lawyer. But can you really take race out of it when you got a racial discrimination lawsuit and you're dealing with an entity such as the NFL? Race is a part of it. Hell, it's a racial discrimination lawsuit. So race is a part of this. So we can't take the race of the players out of it, especially the defender of, you know, and again, this is all allegations here. We don't know if there's anything to this lawsuit, but hopefully we'll find out. But Shannon thinks she's coming across as if she feels like, look, and she just said it. Black people love to call people sellouts. I don't love to call people sellouts. And then how many times have you heard me say that on the show? I don't say that often because I think it's been overused. In this case, I think it's fair to ask that question because that's what it looks like from afar. And that's what people are saying online. So that's why I use that language. But what do you agree? Who do you agree with? And again, I'm not trying to pit people against each other, but I'm just trying to stir the pot. So Donnie's like, nah, absolutely a sellout. Shannon is saying, no, she's a professional. This is what professionals do. What do you think? What do you think? 513-873-7134. I'm on Spreaker. Sharp writes, good morning, Nathan Choppers. Fox writes, rise and shine, young stars. CG Dub, that's Chocolate Girl Wonder, writes, good morning, Choppers. Hey, good to see everybody. Thank you for being here, man. We've been doing this for a minute. Really appreciate you. Thank you for lifting the show up and all the different shows we're doing as we continue in our mission to amplify black and brown voices in the greater Cincinnati area and beyond. That's what the mission is. And you are a big part of that. But we just got a call. Let me go straight to it. Good morning and welcome to the show. Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Hey.
I can't. Shannon.
Hey, Shannon. Good morning.
How are you, Nathan?
I'm doing well. Shannon.
Good.
Shannon.
So here's the thing. Like, a lot of times people, especially Black people, we speak from a perspective that we have not experienced. And at the end of the day, we always say, oh, we want our seat at the table. We want our seat at the table. We should be involved in these conversations. And here is a Black attorney, and I'm not removing race from it. And I agree, they very well could have been making a strategic move. But as a Black professional, she has the ability and the mindset to be able to bring things to them and bring things to the table that could create change in the NFL. So it's not so much that she's just defending them. Yes, she's their attorney. But when it comes down to the time to pay the cost or to settle or to do whatever, because they do have to do, everybody has to do their due diligence. So it's not just like they just show up to court because they have a Black woman. It's like, all right, you guys win. You must be right in all of your actions. That's not how it goes. You know, there's a process, there's due diligence, there's things that happen, there's discovery. So when all of these things come out, there has to be a solution to it. And I feel like it's great that there is a Black woman at the table who can put into effect not only ideas, but actions that can make the NFL better and solve the problem. Because it's one thing just to say, oh, you're bad, here's what you're doing. But do you really want a solution, or do you just want to keep saying how bad you are?
Okay. So you're saying that it's not just going to be her defending the NFL, that she might do some other things that might help the situation. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, because they're even here locally. I sit on many boards and I'm usually the only Black person, usually the only Black woman. And the perspective is that, people say, oh, well, they won't let us do this. Well, they won't give us this money. And it's really very simple. Like sometimes they just don't know. And you think they know, or if they do know, they don't know how to execute it. Because at the end of the day, they haven't lived the life that we have. So they don't have the same perspective. So yeah, okay, you might be doing something that benefits poor people, but Black people aren't the only people who are poor. And even though, it's also about autonomy and equity, everybody doesn't need the same thing. Everybody might need help in a certain way, but they don't need the same types of help. So again, having people with the perspective to help our own people in place is extremely helpful. For us to not be a part of those conversations and not be in those rooms means that we don't have a voice in that space.
Okay. All right, Shannon, thanks for the call.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Have a great day, Nate.
You too. That's Shannon checking in. Good to hear her voice. Good to hear from everybody this morning. She says, look, we need somebody in the room. At least Loretta Lynch will be in the room at the table. She could be. Again, we'll have to wait and see. We're going to be fair. Let's wait and see what her role is supposed to be. I do know that there's a lot of critiques out there, though. Let me flash for you just a headline. Here's a brother named Mike Freeman. I got a chance to interview him once many years ago. He wrote a book about Jim Brown. It was fascinating. It's a fascinating read. But check it out with Mike Freeman. Wrong place. Let's check out what Mike Freeman had to say. Hold on one second. This is his headline, and I think we can extrapolate what the rest of the article is about. Check this out. NFL's hiring a former Attorney General Loretta Lynch is insidious PR move. Insidious PR move. Insidious. That means not good. Do you agree? Is Loretta Lynch going to be at the table? Is she going to come? Is she going to create sort of like, it's more than her defending the NFL. She's going to like do a deeper dive into, it makes suggestions about how the NFL, can do better. But we already know, the NFL already knows. This cabal of largely owned by wealthy white men, they are making the decisions that they want to make. Simple as that. You got the Rooney Rule that gets abused, right? It's just like a stopgap. I'm not sure what Loretta Lynch could do, but we'll find out. Hopefully, they'll get over Loretta Lynch's decision. They love Jay-Z still. What? What's up, Terry? I don't understand. Roy writes, yeah, she is within her background pro, so sure, she's a partner in that law firm, which I assume must be very large, and they have a lot of attorneys working for them who they couldn't put up on the case, and not her. Shauna writes, I think I read that. She said she'd take the case, but they wouldn't win. Is that right? Let me see. Let me catch up to your chat this morning. Let me see. Dale writes, Donnie B is 100 on this. Ellie Mistel wrote a long tweet about this a week ago. I didn't read the tweet. Send me a link if you can. Nat writes, this is coming from a lawyer. We need more like it. Say it, Donnie B. Jada writes, so are we willing to sell out how many Black people just to have a seat at the table? Exactly. And it's a tough situation. Jack writes, people act as if they need all the details of the case, as if that information is available to them, are delusional, and your due diligence don't apply. Okay. Let me see. Last night on social media, Black Republicans announced their dream ticket, Donald Trump and Tim Scott in 2024. Stop laughing. What? Damn. Talk about Dumb and Dumber. Classic movie, the first one, classic. Talk about Dumb and Dumber. Maybe you didn't take time enough and think about it, Donnie. That's Jack. Seems like Jack really has an issue with what Donnie had to say, but it seems sound to me. Didi writes, that is like saying that if enough of Black players supported Cap, we could have impacted change. I felt like they sold out, but I wonder why they didn't, because this is the career they work for, that career, and they're not willing to give that up. I mean, I don't think that's fair, DD. Like, correct me if I'm wrong here, but what I'm gleaning from what you wrote is that I don't think that the players that didn't stand up for Colin Kaepernick necessarily sold out. That's different. That's a whole different context. Like you said, I mean, they're innocent to some degree, although that they might benefit, but they're innocent. Like, it has nothing to do with them per se, kind of. That's different from deciding that you're going to be the representation for the NFL, right? You making that conscious decision. I'm going to defend them in this lawsuit. I think that's different, but it's the same thing. Like, nobody talks up, man. People don't talk up on no job and they need the money. That is very, 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 very rare. That is very rare. I'm not going to say it never happens, man, but bills, time served, career goals, man, that trumps everything. Most people in the situation, they've seen, we call out the other players in the NFL because they didn't do enough for Colin Kaepernick, but people go to jobs every single day and you see stuff happening with your coworkers and people don't say a word. Not my business. So we expect these NFL ball players to do something that we can't do, and we ain't doing that. And it's a tough thing. It's a really tough thing. So let me see. Back to your chat here. Good morning. Let me see. We don't even know the strategy. To Shannon. She could guide them to a settlement. Defending them as their attorney does not equate to defending them morally. So you're saying that she's going against her morals? Again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not in that situation. I don't know how you deal with that. Like, if you're a lawyer, would you represent somebody who you morally are against, or who you're at their actions and what they do is on the opposite side of who you are morally? Would you do that? I don't know. Jack writes, so how did Chrisette Michelle play people when she sang for Donald Trump? She got victimized after that. I'm not sure that Chrisette Michelle played people. That wasn't the issue, that she played people. The issue is that at the time of his inauguration, Donald Trump had a long history of racial discrimination. He had a long history of racial discrimination as a landlord with black tenants and properties around in and around New York. And he had a long, really publicized, history of accusing innocent black men, really boys, of committing a heinous crime in New York. Remember that? The now exonerated five. And so that's why people were upset with Chrisette Michelle, Jack. It wasn't that she played anybody. It was like, how you gonna sing at this man's inauguration, sis? This man? With his history? Come on, yo. That's what that was all about. And she got victimized because when Chrisette Michelle went on social media to explain herself, she made the whole situation worse. I can't remember exactly what she said, but I do remember that her comments were the issue. It's like, sis got problems. And then that's how people are. She got canceled. It is what it is. Jada writes, it's rough out here living in a white-dominated society. Didi writes, Diana made the decision based on her own personal feelings and like. Everybody has a choice, and since I don't know Loretta's side, I will refrain. Okay. All right, I respect that. Jerome writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. Let me see. Somebody writes, Donnie, you are a sellout. You ish on black men all day. Please miss me with the holla than the ethos. Oh boy, you trying to start something. Kamika writes, so everyone working for a corporation or entity with a racist past plans on quitting today and working for the people. GTFOH. I mean, yeah. I mean, wouldn't that be the goal? Wouldn't that be the goal? It might be pie in the sky, but that would be the goal. Like, what conscious black person wants to work for a racist entity? Nobody. I can't think of anybody who wants that. You saying working for the people? It depends. it depends on what your job is. But yeah, I mean, who out there wants to work for a racist corporation or a racist entity? I know I don't. Do you? Nobody does. But it is what it is. Donnie writes to Jack, I took years, boo. I'm an employment lawyer and I know exactly what they're going to have her do. Deshaun writes, good morning, everyone. She did kind of break it down. So we'll see what happens. Roy writes, that's why the NFL hired GZ to do the halftime show so he could quiet the black masses. And now they want to hire Loretta Lynch to do the same thing. Was he? I mean, do you really think that's what the NFL did? On some levels, yeah. Let's be honest. I don't know if it was to quiet the black masses, but it was to lull you back to sleep, right? This is entertainment. This is entertainment. Be entertained. Don't think. Be entertained. Don't think. It was cool. Like the halftime show, everybody made the big thing. It was cool. It was cool. I thought Michael Jackson's performance was better. I thought overall, I mean, you had some big names out there, but that was a strong Michael Jackson. And then Janet Jackson, that's one of the most infamous ones with the pasty. That'll go down to all-time history, Super Bowl performance. And then Beyonce, Bruno Mars, come on, man, that was everything. Plus, she was on some pro-black-ish with the performance, too, and made the white supremacists upset. That was classic. It was cool. I'm not hating on it. It wasn't a 10 out of 10, though. You're not going to tell me that Super Bowl performance was a 10 out of 10 because it was not. But it was cool. Something to watch. Jared writes, what's up with there being 2 Inquirer articles saying that Biden's Supreme Court pick being a black woman? Said 2. I don't know what. Send me a link. I'll take a look at it. Well, there was some information on the internet that suggested that perhaps Joe Biden might put his nominee out yesterday. I don't believe that happened. Let me double check. I don't believe that's happened. Yeah, it hasn't. But I think that's a good thing for Biden, though. So I didn't read the Cincinnati Inquirer article, but I think that's a good thing. People out here making. Oh, no. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. You're talking about the op-ed pieces, Jared. That's what you're talking about. I did read both of those, and I think they're both wrong. One is written by a sister. I don't know who wrote the other one. I just read it this morning. I know what you're talking about. I think they're wrong. They're entitled to their opinion. That's what the opinion page is for, but I think they're wrong. I think they're totally wrong about that. But it is what it is. We can all have different opinions. And if you don't know what we're talking about, basically two people wrote op-ed pieces to the Cincinnati Inquirer in which they said that the fact that one was written by a sister, and her point was that somehow it's demeaning to black people, and it will make black success more difficult to attain if Joe Biden does the whole affirmative action thing because he's already narrowly focused on a black woman. That was one of them. The other one was basically saying that it was disrespectful somehow to, fairness that Joe Biden had narrowed his pick to just a black woman. And I'm looking at these articles like, Negro, please, do you not know where you are? You better look around, take a look. Stop it. I have no problem with it. And plus, it was a campaign promise. And with the games that the Republican Party has been playing in terms of passing policy through Congress, that would be the House of Representatives and then the U.S. Senate, and the Senate's where your real problem is, then, this is something that Joe Biden can do, and he can come through for a campaign promise and really bring some much needed diversity to the Supreme Court. I think it was the people over the Black Authority channel. I was checking them out on YouTube, and apparently he did a little research, and what he found is that the majority of the sisters that are on the short list that we had talked about a couple of weeks ago are married to non-black men. And he was saying he's like, what's up with this? They can't get a sister that's with a brother, or this part of the condition for success or something. I don't know. It was kind of interesting. I don't know if that means anything. I think it really matters what she does when she gets that robe on, like what her views are. But again, we'll talk about it. Daniela writes, Brian Flores' lawsuit is going nowhere, buried in discovery for 2 years, then a settlement check, and no systemic change. That sounds familiar. That sounds very familiar. Diana writes, blacks need to create their own table and stop trying to sit at a table where we will never be accepted. Agreed. 100%. Kelly writes, Loretta supports the collaborative agreement and would push to make that a national model. That's huge. I would not judge her based on the client that she takes on. So you don't think it's fair to judge a lawyer by the client they take on? I don't know. I kind of, if I'm being honest as a human, I will. Like, call me wrong, but I am judging Loretta Lynch by who she's choosing as a client. Right or wrong, I completely admit I'm doing that. Right or wrong, I completely admit it. Tabitha writes, good morning. Let's chop it up. Absolutely. Come on in, Tabitha. Good to see you, as always. Same people calling Loretta Lynch, Loretta a sellout, voted for Charlie Winburn and Joe Biden. Huh? I don't think voting for either one of those, Charlie Winburn or Joe Biden, would make you a sellout. I don't think so. No, I don't think so at all. Jack, you on one this morning, man. You are on one. Brian writes, not at all. If that's the case, let's boycott and not purchase anything that's not black owned or has done black people wrong from day one. Anything, everything, stop using or patronizing. I'm just saying. But isn't that what we do anyway? Don't we already do that? I would never spend my money at an establishment that disrespected black people. I'm not going to do it. You can't get my money no more. It's over with. Simple as that. Unless I'm going to let my voice be heard. Let me put it that way. Because let's say, it's your favorite grocery store. Like, for instance, there was a scenario that happened a few years back at the Kroger in Hyde Park where a sister, I think she was pregnant, was going through the line. And they had a white male clerk who I think had some learning disabilities or something going on, maybe some autism, maybe he's on a spectrum or something, maybe or maybe not. If I'm wrong about that, then strike it from the record. And as the sister was going through, she paid with her EBT card, and he made some kind of like derogatory comment like, oh, you got this new cell phone or something like that. And it got put out on social media. People hit the roof. They made phone calls and dude got removed. And then that's what you would expect. Like you would expect, like, oh, something crazy happens. The people let the owners or whoever know, the owners react and they make it better. The NFL hasn't done that. They didn't do that with Cap. They paid him off, but they didn't do that with Cap. They haven't done it. They haven't made any, since the Rooney rules, there's been nothing meaningful that's been put in place to ensure that black coaches get their fair share. And I believe that means ownership. We'll see what happens with Byron Allen. He's now leading a group to potentially buy the Denver Broncos. Let's wait and see. Let me see. That's happened before. Okay. Donnie writes, what did Loretta Lynch do to advance civil rights when she was U.S. Attorney and the head of the Department of Justice? Please name her accomplishments. I'll wait. Jack writes, what did Flavor Flav say? Confusion. Flavor Flav. Nat writes, she should have took the George Zimmerman case too. Is that right? Oh, man. Sean writes, hopefully not a female Clarence Thomas. If Joe Biden puts in a female Clarence Thomas, there's no way he could ever get my vote again. They would lose so many votes. What they need to do is go gangster to the left. We need a hardcore, progressive, black female, somebody who understands what time it is and what needs to be done. But it's also a very sharp legal mind. That's what we need. That'd be great. Just think about having a black female on the SCOTUS, a black female Supreme Court justice, all these sisters and brothers going through college thinking about becoming lawyers. And that would be a big like boost for them. Right? DeAndre is hilarious. He writes, Loretta doing something strange for a lot of change. Shannon writes, as a black woman, though, she has the ability to present them with areas of improvement in other ways that they can do better in the future. A white person wouldn't be able to give them ideas other than fighting in order to be collaborative in the situation. It depends on the white person, I think, Shannon. I do. I mean, it depends. There's some white folks out there that know what time it is. They know what time it is. They know what's going on. They know about the history, and they're not with it. You know what I'm saying? They're not with it at all. So it depends. Like I said, let's wait and see. Is her job going to be straight defense attorney, or is she going to do some kind of investigation, right, and try to help the NFL become more diverse and come up with ideas? We don't know. We don't know. Craig writes, to me, there's no difference between Loretta Lynch repping the NFL versus black folks losing their minds supporting the Bengals. Both are participating in their own oppression. Oh, damn, Craig, why you had to go there, man? Craig had to go there. Okay, so let's take some time and really think about what Craig is saying here. So he says there's no difference between Loretta Lynch repping the NFL versus black folks losing their minds supporting the Bengals. Both are participating in their own oppression. Are black people participating in their own oppression by supporting their local NFL team? That's the question. And I don't know. Does Craig have a point? I'll leave it up. Black Russia writes, good morning. Get that NFL check, Lynch. Brian writes, agree 100% with Omar. Lee writes, the NFL playing a chess game. Craig writes, yes, Flores is a sellout by not having at least one black lawyer, if not all. Shante writes, Brian Flores has a white wife. He the sellout. Oh, boy. Does that automatically make you a sellout? Damn, we getting deep with it this morning. Okay. I'm here for it. All right, let me get back into it. Damn. So, I mean, Craig, I can't say I don't see your point, bro. I can't say I don't see your point. It is worthy of a little bit of time here. And it's just not a good feeling when people turn the glare on themselves or on you put it on you in your own face, right? You got to look at yourself, because does Craig have a point? You know, how you gonna get mad or have an issue with Loretta Lynch for making money doing her job? And albeit she's representing and defending the NFL, who's alleged to have been participating in discriminatory practices, right? But then you got black folks that's buying T-shirts and jerseys. You turn that game on. You can't get enough of your local team. Bingo. Let's make it personal. Bingo, 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 bingo. How can you say anything about Loretta Lynch? Aren't you doing the same thing? You're just opening a different door, but you walking into the same space. Or is it the same? Is there a difference there? I think I can make an argument there's a difference. Let me work on it over here and move forward with some more of your comments. I want to know what you think. That's what really matters. Jasmine writes, if she is a sellout for this, would Jay-Z also be a sellout for the role he plays? You know, to answer that and be fair, Jasmine, I would confess that I would need to do a little bit more research to understand exactly what the role is that he's playing. I don't know all of it. I know that he's like somehow something to do with the halftime show, and that's great. But I don't know if he's having other conversations. Like everything's relational, right? And the NFL appears to me to be a very relationship driven type of thing. Like relationships are the real currency to me in the NFL. Like having relationships with the NFL executives, having relationships with the NFL owners, because you ain't really got no power after that. It's got to be relational. So is Jay-Z been using this introduction into the NFL to build those relationships behind closed doors so that he can sit at the table? If he's doing that, then we can't call him a sellout, Jasmine. You know what I'm saying? That's just part of the work, and it's going to take a long time. NFL's been around for a long time, never had black majority ownership. So got a bunch of really rich dudes sitting around having conversations with themselves. Now it's a different day. So I don't know. I don't know precisely what Jay-Z's role is, but I appreciate you being here, Jasmine. Good to see you. Shante writes, Brian Flores has a white wife. He the sellout. Is this true? Let me look this up. That matter? Hold on, Brian Flores' wife. Let me see. Let's see. Is she white? I don't know. Okay. She does appear to be white or something. I don't know. I don't know if she's straight white. Have you seen an image of it? I'm not sure how important this is, but this is a talk show and we get all into it. So let's get all into it, shall we? I got an image here I just found. This found this on Google of Brian Flores and his family. Does this really make a difference? Matter of fact, I don't want to use that image. I don't use that one. Does this really make an image? I mean, really make a difference? Matter of fact, let me do it this way. I'll do it this way. How much of a difference does this really make? Who brought this up? Shantae brought this up. So she brought it up. Let's talk about it for a second. How much of a difference does this make? I mean, whatever your feelings are is whatever your feelings are. I'm not here to tell you that you're right or wrong, but here's Brian Flores right here. Can you see that? That's Brian Flores and his wife. And beautiful kids. Look at this. Beautiful people. He's a family man. He's a family man. That's all that matters. Right? That's his king. I mean, that's his queen. He's her king, you know, all that kind of stuff. Does that mean he's a sellout? That's a strong one right there. It really depends on how you look at things. It really do. I'll say this again. Love is hard to find. It is hard to find some, and I'm going to switch gears here and talk about partnership and love and sex and all this stuff in a minute. But love is hard to find. Like true love, like finding somebody to sleep with you and kick it with you, that's easy. Plenty of people for that. But finding somebody that's really going to care about you and sacrifice and be there long term, that's hard to find. That ain't no easy thing to find. So if you find that and it happens to be in the arms of somebody that's not of your race, go with it. You know, that's my reaction. But then you got your own personal choices, and everybody has that. So, but you tell me what you think. 513-873-7134. Daniela writes, she could do an investigation for them. She doesn't need to be their defense counsel to facilitate meaningful change. There's actually a conflict with her doing the right thing for us versus the conflict versus the NFL adequate representations. As their lawyer, when she finds damaging evidence, what do you think she's going to do with it? Ask him to stand down and admit liability? Stop it. Great point, right? So I think she just said it, but to say it in other words, what she's saying is that being her lawyer actually could stop her from facilitating meaningful change because she's taken an oath and has a responsibility that when she finds certain stuff to not use it against them, as opposed to maybe working as, I don't know, a consultant where, you know, you've been tasked with, you know, doing an investigation and coming up with recommendations on how you can do better. That's a different space than being the lawyer. I think that's what she's saying. Makes sense. Caprice, what's up, Caprice? She writes, does anyone know what Flores' position was on Kaepernick in the NFL? Just curious. Hey, what's up, Caprice? I don't know. And I think that's kind of fair. I'm curious about that. Brian writes, what does she do for black people outside of this case? The end justifies the means. Jerica writes, unfortunately, we all have a price, right? Kind of like being a black man and saying, I'd meet with Trump for the right dollars. Does everybody have a price? Yes, everybody has a price. It may not be dollars. It could be the security of your family. It could be whatever it could be. But does everybody have a price? Surely they do. But that price is different. For some people, it's money. For some people, it's whatever, being at the table, family, or whatever. But you're right. You know, we let's be real here. We all got a price per se. Some people just have more conscience than other people. Kind of like a black man saying, I'd meet with Trump for the right dollars. I mean, it is on some levels, and it's not like, but I get your point, Jack. It is and it's not. Jack writes, I got a PhD. Great. Good for you, Jack. Professional Reimbursement Network writes, good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Good morning to you. Sean writes, what table is she sitting at? Jarek writes, it's a chess move. They are using her. Okay. David writes, Rack Shannon. DeAndre writes, she is there to win her case. Kamika writes, Rack Shannon. Not sure what I just said. Jerica Van, maybe so did the NFL for getting coaches. Ruth Stafari writes, what table? The kids' table? She's been hired to defend them. Let me see here. Adele writes, she's not searching for the solution. Come on, people. She's there to settle and keep the NFL from going to discovery portion of a trial. Jada writes, the real question is who and what are we willing to sacrifice to have a seat at the table? TNT writes, good morning. Good to see you. Donnie writes, you can be in the room without being their defense counsel. I agree with it. Craig writes, call her, but that's not Lynch's job. Her job is to squash the lawsuit. Maurice writes, good morning, Nathan Chopper. Good morning to you. Roy writes, she's not being hired to give them solutions to give them. She's hired to defend them. Absolutely. Politically Petty Podcast Show writes, maybe Loretta Lynch is the William O'Neill and will help Brian Flores by acting like she's with the NFL. Just a thought. I don't think she's doing that. With the NFL, she ain't doing that. Because you gotta understand, the NFL is owned by what? Like 30 of the richest people in the country? She ain't trying to do that. She ain't trying to do that. That wouldn't be smart, I don't think. You know, just be real. If you're going to do the job, you're going to do the job. If you're not going to do the job, you don't do the job. Simple as that. But that's not a game I would play. Jack writes, that's another person's opinion about her. Dale writes, yes, Mike Freeman is correct. Kamiki writes, the FBA folks in here calling Lynch a sellout in support of Honduran. Black Flores is another complexity. Very interesting. Honduran. You saying his wife is Honduran? Is that what you're saying? I don't understand. Brent writes, good morning, Nathan Choppers. Checking in from Dallas, Texas. Hey, good to see you, Brent. Good to see you. Now, listen, I'll get back to your comments in just a second. I need to take a quick break. We'll come right back. This is the Nathan Ivey Show. I'm live. I'm local. I'm vocal. Up early every single morning chatting with you. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
You always make me feel like, oh yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone, yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just can't stop thinking about you. Take it away, feeling too good to me. Chilling all day, all in your space is where I wanna be. Here in this room, what did you do? I just can't get enough. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like, yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone, yeah, you're the reason I'm going out of my mind. Just stop thinking about you. All that I crave when you're away, nights are sleepless. Do we need space? Yeah, maybe you're brave, boy, you're my weakness. Giving we take, the love that we make, it's my favorite drug. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like, oh yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. Yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just won't forget you. You always make me feel like, yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. Yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. Just stop thinking about you. Just stop thinking about you.
Good morning. Welcome back. 513-873-7134. If you'd like to share your thoughts this morning, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Good morning. We've been talking primarily about Loretta Lynch. You know, something to talk about this morning. A lot of people are having conversation about this. I was curious as to what this audience thought about it. But now I want to talk about a few other things. I know people were criticizing the city. Not even people, really. It was one of the columnists for the Cincinnati Enquirer. He wrote a piece and said basically that having an event for the Bengals down at Washington Park was tantamount to a participation trophy. You know, that's where we live in now. Like, everybody gets a participation trophy. There are no winners and losers. You're a winner because you participated, right? That's not really of my generation. In my generation, we played dodgeball. You go to school and get hit in the face with a dodgeball at like 27 miles an hour. You have ice on your face. You be all crying. You just get over it and go right back out there and hit somebody else in the face, right? You know, my generation was a winner and loser. Got a first place trophy, second place trophy, third place trophy, and after that, no more trophies. You didn't win, kid. Try harder, right? Now it's like, we don't want to make you feel bad. Everybody's tried hard. So you get a participation trophy. And that's what Jason Williams compared the event last week for the Bengals to. And I disagree on some levels. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, how often do the Bengals do something like that? So obviously they're going to get some kind of recognition. Key to the city. I'm like, well, okay, so you got to have some room for growth. Like, if you're getting the key to the city just from making a Super Bowl, if you win a Super Bowl, what do we give you? Another set of keys to the city? But, you know, it's all just fun. And there was an op-ed piece written by Katie Blackburn, and she is like a big executive over the Bengals, talking about how appreciative she is of the fans. And what I would say to the Bengals is that if you're really appreciative to the fans, then when you renegotiate that stadium deal, then you start paying for some of that ish. Yeah, I mean, cut us a break. Like, if you're really appreciative of the Bengal fans and all the love the Bengals gave you as we are getting ready for the renegotiation talks of the Bengal Stadium contract, then help a county out. You know what I'm saying? Throw a few zeros our way. You know, let us off the hook for some of those yearly expenses. If you're really appreciative, that would just be me. But what do you think? 513-873-7134. Brian writes, you have to do what benefits you and your family. I know that's right. That's true. But like I said, I mean, I left the job because of how they did a black woman. I couldn't do it no more. I just couldn't work there no more. And it wasn't just that. That was just like the straw that broke the camel's back. But, you know, I can't work for an organization that says they're one thing, but then in practice, you're that. You know what I'm saying? And I just couldn't do it. It didn't bring her back, but, you know, I'm valuable. You can't have me like that. You know what I'm saying? That's how I looked at it. Everybody's different, but I was also in a position, and it was a struggle now. You know what I'm saying? The wifey wasn't happy. I'll be honest with you. We had some conversations, but I had to do what I had to do. Sometimes it's like that. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nate. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. Is this Chris?
This is.
What up, Chris? Good morning, brother.
I guess I'm getting a slow feed from Facebook because I was calling about the comment that Jason Williams wrote in the paper and said it was just space trophy.
Yeah.
Here's my idea, my thinking. Now, I thought about this right when I read that they signed the coach for 5 years. This is my whole thinking, which is great that everything that you've seen for those 2 weeks for the city of Cincinnati, it falls in play for the coach, the team that's in play right now, the organization, and the city, if the city plays it right. So they signed the coach for 5 years. Honestly, I think they're going to go to the playoffs 3 or 4 out of those 5 years with this team if they get aligned. What's that going to do? That's going to continue to bring the people down to Paul Brown Stadium. What did we see all week for the 2 weeks? All who they. We sent them off with a parade, basically, entourage out there. Who they, go, bring us back a trophy. They didn't bring the trophy back, but you know what? Yay, we're proud of you. Thousands of people. Have 30,000 people down there for the pep rally beforehand. Oh, and you know what? Cincinnati, the city council, city's always late with doing stuff. So we're going to have this little party right here down in Washington. We're going to say, thank you, Bengals, thank you. Well, what comes in 4 or 5 years, that deal on the stadium is going to be up. So that puts the city and the county in a kind of a tough position on what the Bengals ask for, what they need to say, hey, we have this, let's build this dome, see where we can get that made. And then we can bring in more business for the city, and you have a huge dome, and you can get the Super Bowl here at whatever they name the dome. So it kind of works in play for everybody. What I seen with that last little hurrah, but with the city and everybody back in the Bengals. Am I wrong? Do I have a vision?
I think I see your vision.
And that brings in more money for the county and the city, hotels, business, build more hotels because we're going to have the Super Bowl. We're going to have the Final Four. We're going to have the NCAA football championship here, or we're going to have one of the playoff games here, or we're going to have WWE here. That's what I see when I seen them sign that. And then that little late reaction from the city. Here's that late reaction. And just like Alicia Reese said, hey, let's have the pep rally. No, we don't. We can't. We can't do it. We need time. Now you have time. That's what she needs to be working on. That. You have time now. You have some winning seasons. You have 5 years before that contract is up, I believe. 4 or 5 years. I think it's 24, 26. One of those two. It's within that time. Instead of putting $1.5 billion in it, or $100 million to upgrade it, tear it down and build a dome. And then somebody's going to say, well, where are they going to play? We just got a nice soccer stadium, brand spanking new, state-of-the-art. Granted, it only seats 21,000. But you know what? Even if they have a lousy season, they can easily fill 21,000 seats. Yep. And guess who did that? The same place we just came from with the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
LA Rams.
Oh, the LA Rams, they did that? I don't see that happening, Chris, because if we get a new dome stadium, we're talking about over $1 billion, I think. And that who's going to pay for that? The taxpayers?
No, because Paul Brown ruined that for everybody. The NFL said there's no more county deals. When they made that deal, the NFL said there's no more county deals allowed. No more counties going to get screwed on building stadiums, contracts like that. But with all that love and support that this city has just shown for this team, I guarantee they can find people to privately invest on it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think we missed our boat with the dome thing. We should have did it initially, but that meant more money. And then now you got a bigger number that you're going to Hamilton County voters to try to get them to vote for. I can understand why they didn't do it. It definitely would be more useful if it had a dome on it. What I'm looking for is the numbers. I want to see the investment that we are going to make over the length of a contract. And then I want to compare that to how much money that that the Bengals' success, that their run to the Super Bowl this season has made for the county, right? Like, what's the payoff for us, and does it make dollars and cents? If it doesn't, they need to renegotiate it so it's more in favor of the county, and the Bengals pay more, out of their own pocket. That's how you show appreciation to the fans.
If I'm not mistaken, if they don't come to an agreement by the 26th, then the deal stays in play until 36. The way it is right now, the county still paying for all the upgrades, whatever Paul Brown or whatever the organization asks for. If I'm not mistaken, if they don't come to an agreement for in the midst of like the 25th year or whatever, then the rest of the contract years, it stays in play. Now, how easy do you think it's going to be, or they can opt out and leave? Now, having a winning season, how easy do you think it's going to be for them to be able to say, you know what, we can go ahead and leave?
Yeah, I mean,
if they don't get something.
Nobody wants to see the Bengals leave now. They definitely got a lot more leverage and community support than they had before this past season. So I definitely think it's going to impact the negotiations. We'll see what happens.
That's why I said it all came to play, leverage for everybody all at that same time, and in this time frame. First agreement is, do we want to keep the Bengals here? Yes. All right. Now let's build something. How did we do it? That's going to be, because it's going to be easy for them to say we want to leave now. We want to go to another city. I can guarantee that St. Louis. I guarantee St. Louis will welcome the Cincinnati Bengals, a football team, in. They won't welcome Cincinnati, but they'll welcome a football team. You know why? They still got their dome built, and they'll be willing to build another dome. Just saying. They'll welcome it in with arms wide open.
All right, Chris, thanks for the call, bro.
Have a good day.
Oh, you too. That's Chris checking in. Appreciate you. You could check in too by phone at 513-873-7134. Now, I know it's not for everybody. Call into a radio show is not for everybody. And, we could talk about what those numbers are in terms of percentage. It's a very, 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 very small percentage of your overall audience is going to call into any talk show. It's just the way it is, because most people are like voyeurs. They want to watch and look from afar. Plus, they're busy. And not everybody feels comfortable. So, listen, I appreciate the phone calls. Brace up the monotony in my own voice. And plus, even more importantly, I get a chance to hear your thoughts. And that's what it's all about. 513-873-7134. Man, I hope you got a chance to check out the Edna Howe on Straight Talk Live. She had a brother on named Willis Bean Davis. And damn, man, I'm not jealous of any man. I've never been a jealous type. I've never seen a man do something I can't do. But I wish that I had that artistic flair. Like, people who are artists and can create and things like that, man, I just think very highly of that skill. I just don't have that skill. My art is the art of flow or other things. And as I was watching the program and we were showing some of the art, I was like, dude is really talented. You should check him out. I think he sells his art online through his website. And you can check out that broadcast right now. Also, check out the Echo Chamber podcast with Brother Christian Boykin Monday evenings. Just adding more texture to your evening, more conversation, more provocative thoughts each and every Monday evening. Check out the Echo Chamber podcast. You can watch it here on Facebook. He's got a YouTube channel up as well. You can check him out there. Good morning to you. Let's get back to, let me step aside Spreaker. Big ups to the Steelers for hiring Brian Flores, right? I read that he is way overqualified, but he'll probably help that team. And why are the Steelers so different? Like, they've been rolling with Mike Tomlin for years, but Mike Tomlin is one of the most accomplished coaches in the league. Never had a losing record. Never had a losing season. Never. That's crazy in the NFL. That's unheard of. Through injuries, the ups and downs of talent and whatever happens just to flow the NFL, he's never had a losing season. That is huge. That is super huge. It's like a Jew being the attorney for the Nazis. Well, Ray, I think you're onto something. I can definitely see the parallels. I can definitely see the parallels. A Jewish person would never do that. Now we're talking about a more extreme example, but you're right. I don't think you see that, or would they? I don't know. Since I'm not Jewish, I'm not sensitive, so I'm not watching those kind of things. But I think that she makes a point. I think she makes a point, huh? And out here making points. Okay, I'm with you on that. Hold on, I'm just screenshotting it for a second. Hold on. Got it. Interesting. I've said that she should have been a consultant for change, and they don't want that. These people are not going to willingly give up nepotism without a fight. They're just not. Caesar V writes, "Good morning, Chop. It's been a while since I've been in the original Chop Shop. Just dropping love on this rainy day." Yeah, I know. I mean, we've seen a great migration. I mean, I miss it. But sometimes change is a good thing. And when we went video, people just migrated from the audio to the video. Now we still have a sizable audience that checks out us on audio, just Spreaker and on TuneIn, and that's great. I'll always make sure we put that stream up for you. But things have changed, so now we're doing things now, on the more video side of things, and change is a good thing. Shannon writes, "How is everyone so upset with her for repping such a racist entity, but black people spend plenty of money with the NFL, the same racist entity, regularly? Question mark. Watch every game, buy merch, go to games. Can't feel that strongly about it." It depends. Like if you buying some of that black-owned merch, it's kind of like you helping a black-owned business too. You know what I'm saying? So that would be like a little distinction over here. I get what you're saying. I think there's some validity in that. On the surface, it appears to be some validity to the question. So let's talk it out. Jada writes, "Also, Flores is claiming racial discrimination as a black man, not as a Honduran, LOL. So why are people making this an FBA versus non-FBA thing by saying we should automatically be defending Lynch because she's considered FBA? Is that what people are saying, Jada? Huh. I heard a lot of arguments this morning. My opinion remains this: that it's problematic for me when I saw that she did that. And I immediately, speaking of Loretta Lynch, I immediately started thinking she must be desperate for money. That's what I think. Loretta Lynch must be desperate for money, or they throwing such a bag at her that she just can't turn it down. Right? Who knows what her legal fees are going to be? I don't know how that works. I mean, she might have said, "Look, hey, I'm gonna take some hits on this one for you guys. So if you want me to do this, you're gonna have to put another zero on that number right there." And it was a situation she just couldn't resist it. It could be that. I don't know. You cannot buy your reputation. Absolutely. You guard your reputation with your life. Absolutely. Barbara writes, "Good morning to you, Barbara." She writes, "Good morning, good people. We definitely need our own tables, but it's okay to be at other tables as well." Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I mean, just with this show and the podcast you're working for, I mean, part of that is set. That's mine. This is what I do. I'm a media guy. This is my wheelhouse. So I'm just doing what I do. You know what I'm saying? And if that sets the table, great. But I feel you. Um, but if she's the lawyer, which means that she is there to represent the client, is she really at the table in a way that will allow her to do what really needs to be done? Or is she at the table in a way in which she basically is working for the bosses and she's going to do their bidding? I'm leaning toward the latter on that one, just because that's just where I'm at. Brent writes, "Loretta Lynch has had more than enough time to issue a statement, at the very least through her publicist, on why she's defending the NFL." I agree with you. Let me move on. Let me add this to the conversation. You may or may not give a damn about this. This may or may not be something that's in your wheelhouse, but and I get it. I get it. Like I said, I mean, it is what it is. But I have and always will talk about relationships because I do a show in which I talk about people. I'll say this again. Among other things, I am a people watcher. I am an observer of human beings. Human beings are the most interesting creatures walking planet Earth. The way we think, what we do, our trends, our habits, all of that's fascinating to me. So I came across this on CNN. As a matter of fact, somebody posted this. One of my social media friends posted this, and that's what brought it to my attention. Then I went looking for it. And it was a female, black female. And she was like, "This is me." And I haven't spoken to her about it, but I thought, this is interesting. Americans less likely to have sex, partner up, and get married than ever. Let's put the sex part to aside for a second. The gist of this article is that living together is at an all-time low. Partnering up and living together is at an all-time low. And that getting married is at an all-time low. And I'd like to know why. Look at this headline right here. Partnership is at a low, not just marriage. Not just marriage. Less people, or more and more people, are coupling up, living together, and or getting married. I'd like to know, is that consistent to what you see? And I'd like to know why. That's very interesting. Marriage ain't a thing no more. Partnering up ain't a thing no more. How many people who are married right now would get married again? And I'm not talking about your partner, but you would get married again. Let's say you got divorced. Would you get married again? A lot of people who I know who are married, and married people joke like this. They joke like, "Hey, if I got divorced, I ain't never getting married again." Is marriage that hard? Is it that bad? Is it just about sex, or is it about or is it something else? Or is it something else? You tell me. At 513-873-7134. The General Social Survey has on and off since 1986 asked participants whether they have a steady partner. This past year, 30% of adults aged 25 to 54 indicated that they do not have a steady partner. In 1986, it was 20%. It's never topped 23% until the 2010s, and now it's at 30%. So people in that age bracket who responded to that particular survey are doing their own thing. But then, some of this makes perfect sense because for years and years and years, it was being reported that over half of marriages were ending in divorce. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that there was a lot of people out there that were watching people in bad relationships, and they probably got a bad taste in their mouth for it. Like, if you grow up and you seeing a bad marriage, does that make you less likely to want to get married? If your circle of family and friends all are divorced, they all talking down on marriage, or why did I do this? I never do that. Would that make you less likely to get married? That could be why. It's like, I don't want those problems. I don't want those problems at all. I'll just keep it single. You might be thinking that the reason why, or one reason why, is because, women are more independent. And the people behind that research said, nah, that's not it. What they found is that people who have higher incomes in that particular study were more likely to couple up and get married. Does that make sense? And the way they described it is that, people who have like stable finances, when they meet somebody else who's got stable finances, they like, we're going to do this together. That explains it. What do you think? Is there something else behind it? And don't say the rap music. You can't say rap music. That would be racist. Good morning to you. Ponder and give me your thoughts. Dale writes, Nate, we work for companies that disrespect black folks all the time. If we're really going to be about it, then let's be about it. Otherwise, we just playing around. I'm serious. That's where the hard part comes in, right? Because you got to lead your household. You got to pay bills in your household. So you got to make that decision for yourself. People do. Then they struggle to find another job, or maybe they walk right into another job. But Craig writes, exactly, Nate, about not supporting discriminatory grocery stores. So why y'all supporting the NFL? Kool-Aid drinkers. Craig is not going to give us any room to breathe this morning. Brent writes, Loretta Lynch has been retained as an attorney, not an image consultant. Well, I mean, hell, if the NFL needs an image consultant, I know a brother that's pretty good. Y'all know who I'm talking about, right? The man, he's the most hated black man in America right now. Who I'm talking about? Kevin Samuels. The NFL should hire Kevin Samuels to give them a makeover. So give him a makeover. Or not. Either way. Let me see. Roosterfire writes, Craig hit the nail on the head. Brian writes, I helped pay for that stadium, so I'm an investor. Diana writes, yeah, that's problematic. Daryl writes, Loretta Lynch's job is to settle and keep the NFL from discovery. This is the assignment. Brian Flores is not even FBA. This cat is Honduran. Does that really make a difference? Like, to white people, he's black. He's non-white, period. He's a black man. Honduran, Jamaican, whatever. But I know people are having this debate. It is what it is. Greg writes, do you believe that the NFL management is racist because there are so few black coaches and managers across the league? ? It's a genuine query in my mind. I did not think about the issue until the gentleman whose name I don't recall sued the NFL recently, Brian Flores. Really, Greg? Wow, man, that's absolutely. And this is a conversation that's been going on in some circles for decades. And there's been some advancements, but it's not a reflection of the league. You got a league that's 70% black, but only 2 black head coaches? That ain't 70% out of 31. Or is it 31 teams? That's not 70%. I'm not sure what 70% out of 31 would be. I think it'll probably be like, I don't know. Hold on, I can do the numbers. I'll get roughly to it real quick. So like, what about like 50 or something like that? So no, I'm taking that back. I'm going to take 50. You like 50, Nate? How you come up with that? Hold on. You got 31 teams. So you're talking about like 26, somewhere around there, 26, 25, 27, in order for it to be 70% coaches. I think I'm right about that, just off the top of the head. If I'm wrong, the mathematicians, please set me straight. But somewhere around there. But you only got 2, which is, I don't know what that percentage is out of 31 off the top of the head. Nikki writes, good morning, everyone. Let me see. Jack writes, Jay-Z is a businessman. Craig writes, hell yeah, Jay-Z sold out. Loretta Lynch with the DJ. Let me see. Hey, Glenn, hasn't seen you on Twitter. I was concerned. Okay, he's talking to each other. Yeah, his wife is white. Okay, I didn't realize that until I looked her up. She looked Latino to me. Yeah, she looks like she's something. Something's going on there. I don't know. See, trying to catch up. Angela writes, good morning. Hold on now. We can say him a sellout because he has a white wife and the TE for the Chiefs has a black wife. Nobody called her a sellout when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. The tight end. Okay. You're talking about the brother you're talking about the tight end. What's the guy's name? He went to the University of Cincinnati. I know what you're talking about. One of the best tight ends in the game. He is married. He's married to a black woman? I thought he was married to a white woman. I think he was dating a black woman. I don't know these things. I just see stuff from time to time on TMZ. I don't know, Angelo. I don't know. It's interesting. Again, I'm not calling him a sellout for that. Other people might. Craig writes, having a white wife doesn't make you a sellout. However, it makes it hard for me to believe you when you are trying to sell me a Chevy and you driving a Ford. Okay. Brian Flores spoke up and supported Kaepernick while other so-called black coaches didn't. Is that right? Put her pick back up again, Nate. Okay. Whose pick we talking about? You talking about his wife? That was actually a screenshot. So I have to go back to that screen and put it back up there. If Loretta Lynch is a sellout, then Barack Obama is a sellout. Okay. He has a white wife, and with all the black discrimination lawyers, he chooses a white one. This is not about hiring more black coaches. That was just the angle he is using to secure the bag. The Rooney Rule was being abused before he was a head coach and while he was a head coach, but now it is a problem. Deborah writes, good morning, Choppers. Cormaine writes, hello. Good morning, Cormaine on Facebook. Is Iris Rowley a sellout for taking money and a consulting gig from Amtab? This is I'm gonna get you sucker type ish. I don't think so. Especially you talking about the nature of the job that she helped to create and design. I don't think there's anybody that could do a better job. Quite honestly, I think it's actually smart. And they had another brother that was doing that job, and he was like the coordinator for the collab. I can't remember exactly what the job title is, but there was a brother that was doing that, and we never heard from him. Then you didn't even know it, did you? That job recently came open because the brother went on and did something else, but there was a brother that was doing that job. He wasn't from Cincinnati. I forget his name. I never got a chance to meet him. He was kind of in and out. I think he's working for somebody else in the city. He might be working for the CPD, I think. I forget the brother's name, but they created that position. Iris helped to create that position. The brother took it over. We never heard from him. So I don't know. Oh, man. Daniela writes, I do find it ironic and troubling that Brian Flores hired the Wigner law firm to sue the NFL for lack of hiring black coaches, yet this firm has no black attorneys or paralegals. Interesting. Shantae writes, me personally, I'm not going to complain too much about being discriminated against if I'm in a relationship with the race that discriminated me. Plus, he got another NFL assistant coaching position anyway. True that. DeAndre writes, keep your third eye on Avtab. He's moving kind of slick. Is he? In what way? Really? Huh. Shantae writes, white wife, white lawyers. Yeah, that's going to help his discrimination case. Good vibes. Shantae writes, shout out to dropping science. Really, Shantae? What? Okay. Let me see. Kashar writes, and yet the needle doesn't seem to move for the disenfranchised. Right. Deborah writes, I don't think there's enough hotels in all of Greater Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky from here to Dayton to host a Super Bowl. You don't think so? You're probably right about that. Plus, we don't have the facility. We don't have the actual stadium facility for it. I remember when they were having a conversation about building a new stadium, I thought they should pay the money and get a dome. You know, I'm like, hey, they have some numbers in the paper about what it would cost. I'm like, hey, just build the most luxurious thing you can build, something that's going to be useful 24/7 every day throughout the year. That sets you up to be a part of the NC2As and all these other little championship tournaments. That's what I would have done. But I think the price tag was too high for Hamilton County voters, so they got what they can get. You know what I'm saying? They got what they can get. Brent writes, Cincinnati is too small of a market to garner a dome stadium. Think so? Isn't that the next step? Like, isn't that the eventual next step? Sometime in the future when the stadium needs to be redone, it's going to be a dome. Isn't that? It just seems like it makes sense to me. Hold on one second. I'm looking something. Okay. Let me see. Darren Rice, stop. Cincy is never going to host a Super Bowl. And the reason you don't have a dome isn't because of the cost. It's because Mike Brown said, no, I want an open air stadium. And we were dumb enough to build it. That's Darren checking in. Is that right? Brian Flores was playing Jay-Z during practice, and that's what upset Kenny Stills. Facts are facts. Is that right? Is that right? Send me a link. I want to see that. Very, very interesting. Craig Rice, I live in San Diego. We said, let the door hit you in the ears. We ain't paying for a stadium. Bye, Felicia. We'll be at the beach. Crystal writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Peace and love. Betting Public Sports Show writes, Glenn, you do this and it chaps my hands. You making the same point I'm making. Please stop that. Is that right? Shannon writes, we just got black-owned merch, right? A matter of fact, I saw an article of with black-owned brand in Essence Magazine. In Essence Magazine, so they're blowing up. Diana writes, she defended McDonald's in a class action lawsuit brought by black franchise owners. She has a history of this ish. Look at what she did or didn't do there. I will look that up. Right. And that's probably the reason why the NFL tapped her. If she defended the McDonald's friend or the McDonald's Corporation against black franchise owners, the NFL was like, we love the work she did there. Help do this for us. Tabitha writes, we don't need a table. We need a few states. Reparations are due. Brian Rice, sidebar. What range did you go for the ride or die CCW classes? I'm looking for a good outdoor range. I emailed them, but no response just yet. Brian, let me double check. I probably have to reach out to Brother Forte myself. I don't remember. It was way out somewhere. It was way out. It was about a good little drive away. But it was a nice facility. It was nice. And I just don't remember off the top of the head. Maybe somebody else does, but I don't remember. Greg writes, are Americans less likely to partner and get married because of COVID and post-COVID stress, or is it just the way the new generations are? That's a good question, Greg. And in the article that I read, the researchers asked the same thing. And what they realized is that before COVID, there was a trend that was already established. And that trend stayed consistent throughout COVID to today. So no, they don't believe that COVID had a big impact on it. They believe this is just where people are these days. Jasmine writes, there is less need for partnership as we have experienced in the past. Less need for partnership? Less need for partnership. Let me see. Maurice writes, I have been married twice, and that's due to my false incarcerations twice. Tabitha writes, in my hood, people are breaking up because some men are jealous of the opportunities that women have. It's stupid, but it's happening. Men are jealous of the opportunities that women have. What in the hell? What is that? Really? Chris writes, not only would I not get married again, I would not have moved out of my mama's house until I had $500,000 saved up. Really? Oh boy, I see Politically Podcast is going. Glenn and Fame are going at it. Let me see. Jericho writes, I'm back, and what I missed, have we revisited our discussion from yesterday regarding the changes of Cincinnati Talk Radio? Nah, nothing to talk about. I wish everybody the best. It is what it is. The only kind of radio that I'm really focused on, Jericho, is what I'm doing. I'm focused on this show and the other shows. Everything else is out of my hands. You know what I'm saying? I wish everybody the best. Maurice writes, I had to ask the Most High Yahweh to give me a woman after his own heart instead of me looking for myself. Okay. He said, hell no with the Kevin Samuels. I'd rather have Farnsworth Bentley. You wrong for that. Roots writes, it's the rap music. It's the rap music, that damn rap music. You know that. You already know. Travis Kelsey, right. Jamal is on YouTube. What's up, Jamal? Let's not bash his sister representing the NFL. She worked hard to earn her position as well as big fella. Okay. Victoria writes, Travis Kelsey from the Chiefs is not married. I didn't think he was married, but I mean, I don't know what people are doing these days. His wife is Latina, I think is what you're trying to say. Diana writes, no, Iris has been doing ish for free for years. It's about time she gets to earn money for her effort. Civil rights work doesn't need to be free. She has to earn a living too. Yeah, I agree with that too. And like I said, I can't think of anybody. You show me somebody who is better, who would be better equipped to do that job. As I understand the job, because I can't tell you because I have total recall about the job description. I do know the job and knew it was available and all that kind of stuff, but I don't see no issues with it. But you know what you said is what people are going to say about her. They're going to say, oh, she's compromised about AFTAB. I get it. You know what I'm saying? You know, you can't stop people from thinking what they want to think and saying what they want to say, but you still got to do you. Okay. I see Famous going hard on Irish this morning. I'll let y'all do that. Too cheap for a dome? I don't know. It was a hard sell. And if the price tag would have been higher, I think less Hamilton Countyans would have supported. That's why he didn't go for the dome, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? It just was a hard sell to the public, so they got what they could get, and it worked. Somebody's asking my opinion about. I don't have an opinion about it. I don't have an opinion. Wish everybody the best. Tracy writes, Kevin Pamuels. Now you disrespectful on that one. You are Kevin Pamuels? You are so disrespectful for that, Tracy. You disrespectful. You wouldn't say that to him. You're so damn disrespectful to some Kevin Pamuels. I like Kevin Samuels. He's entertaining. For no other reason than that, he's entertaining. When white folks are in trouble, they always find a Negro for hire to bail them out. Same Jim Crow playbook. This is very true. When black entertainers use their clout and refuse to perform or sing that anthem for the NFL, this would have a direct impact on the NFL than Pookie watching the game at home and don't hold a season pass. Sister V writes, Loretta Lynch is there to represent her client. Not cool. End of story. With you on that one. Right. She did try to show him the way, but people going to do what people are going to do. Right. Who's going to pay for it, CG Dub? I'm with you 100%. I'm inside a Spreaker right now if you're wondering what I'm talking about. Ray writes, they said never again, and they meant that. You can't even ask a question. And they take our paycheck and make you apologize for a year and learn their history. Okay. Ray writes, let them leave. Speaking of the Bengals, nobody wants the Bengals to leave right now. Nah, the Bengals, the people were so excited and proud and pumped up. Nobody wants the Bengals to go anywhere. And their success is definitely going to be hanging over the discussion table when the county commissioners sit down with them. It's definitely going to be in a room. It's definitely going to be in a room. And the Bengals are smart. They got smart people working for them. They're going to walk in there and say, hey, listen, here's how the city benefited and how the county benefited from our playoff run. Boom. They're going to lay them numbers on the table, and it's going to work. It's going to work. Let me see. Yeah, I said what I said, Fame. I meant what I said. And I'm saying what I'm saying now, and I mean what I'm saying now. I mean, that's how I feel about it. I wish everybody best. I only care about what I'm doing. I don't really care about any other radio stations or anything else. I only care about what I'm doing. Jamal writes, how can anybody be mad at a black person representing the NFL when the whole case is about a black person representing a team in the NFL? That's Jamal on YouTube. Well, the reason why is because people feel like she's selling out. Like, why are you going against something that could be good for black coaches in the future? Don't you want to see that be successful? So that's why. Didi writes, so are we all sellouts for continuing to watch the NFL when a boycott was on to show support for Cape, or is that different? It depends on how you look at it. Some people will say yes. Some people will say no. But I think that's a fair question, though, nonetheless. Hey, listen, people, that's my time. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here and checking out the show. Please like and in particular share today's show. I'll be with you and hopefully better than ever tomorrow morning, bright and early at 8 a.m. And we'll chop it up on people. Winners focus on winning and losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning, and we'll chop it up real soon. Until next time, I'm Nate Ivey, and I'm out.
NathanIvey.com. Mr. Ivey know the show must go on. As far as Cincinnati, man, I put on. Tunes made another flame beat for me to cook on. Raised arms, close fists, yeah, too strong. Team NI, chop it up at the chop shop. Top notch with the king flow, the hot shot. Cop squats in, listen to the real, jumping like hopscotch. Nobody harder than, oh, no, think not. Not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlatives, keep it locked like them Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airwaves, we talk about it. Brand new like the templates, let's be about it. Who got the info by the AM? Jono be the rapper, got them jamming when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't gotta okay him. Who the host with the scoop? Yeah, they gon' say him. Ivy, so superlative like a bag of drippos. Show you where the Brits at, Cincinnati Reds at. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at. It's the 5-1-3, yeah, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at.